doubts and concerns regarding the quantum financial system is there. People around the crypto community is kind of confused and now looking forward for what is the truth. Now that you reach the right place, you will get the truth related to that here. Yes, the document itself is listed in OCC website but shown as an example for a fake document. I kind of agree with that. But now this is the document itself, right? So what does it talk about? A Quantum Initiative Act passed by the US House of Representatives. So if we come to this website, congress.government, what does this show you? So is there a bit of legitimacy there? Now, okay, cool. Now, then when we look at the next one, they talk about it's approved by the UN and USMCA. Okay, so let's look at this article. What does this show you? This article kind of show you that it's more than there, right? So it's currently being processed in one way or the other, and if you need more legitimacy about this particular thing, you can again go back into congress.government and you can see this one there. So if you still need to know about quantum finance, there is a lot of different progressive approaches which has been implemented. You can see this back in 4th January 2019, and then this one came in August 30th 2019. So it's actually increasing step by step. Now you'll get to know what has been done there and what is the truth behind this in a couple of moments. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value in the research presented, please do hit that like button. If you would like to extend your support, you can use the links in the description for Patreon and PayPal. Using Patreon, you will be allowed to get more service of the same quality research and standard for your portfolio based on different assets as per your needs. Now, getting back into the topic, if we look at this particular document, yes, it is shown here as a sample of the fake document, and they show you this one, right? So when you actually go into that, they talk about what a Quantum Initiative Act. Now yes, there is a difference here. It shows you International Quantum Initiative Act, whereas when we come into this one, it shows National Quantum Initiative Act. So there is a bit of difference there. Now when we go back into this one, and we can understand, they talk about that something is approved by UN and USMCA, and this is between Mexico and USA International Settlement Region, right? Then we actually reach this document which we presented in detail in yesterday's video. You can see that it is between US, Mexico and Canada based on a free trade agreement, but a fintech firm is involved there with the regulatory clarity. And when we come to the bottom, it talk about the on-demand liquidity corridor being used by Bitso. Now when you come even down, they are not mentioning Ripple or XRP, anything there at the top, but when you come to the bottom, when they talk about central bank digital currency, yes, they are mentioning RippleNet and XRP as a cryptocurrency. Now, at the top, they were not mentioning anything like marketing for Ripple, RippleNet and all, but when it reached an area where you need to mention them, they mentioned it. Instead, at the top, it was just being mentioned as on-demand liquidity. Now, if you look at this particular thing, it is about the same thing. USMCA, UN, they are kind of working on the same thing and on the same corridor. Now, if you come back to the congress.government, you can see United States, Mexico, Canada agreement implementation. You can go through that entire thing. If you want, I'll put the link in the description. You can go through them. It is legit. Now, yes, this particular item is not completely legit, but whatever is being stated in that has a level of truth in it. I'm not saying everything written in this document is 100% accurate, but it seems that there are information in this one. It is not coded or nothing. You just have to go search for what is being stated in it and which you feel important. Like this one is one of the important point here, right? Quantum Initiative Act and passed by US House of Representatives, and then this UN and USMCA for that particular corridor, which is previously known as NAFTA, right? And when you come here, you can understand it was previously NAFTA, now USMCA, and they are looking for this particular thing using DLT. Now, if we move forward looking at what is being done for the quantum initiative, you can actually understand it was being considered from way back in 2019, and then early 2019. Then late 2019, this came there, executive order on establishing the national quantum initiative advisory committee. Now, as we move forward, that is just about the United States, right? If we look further around the world, you can see much more things going around. Say Germany is racing to catch up with the quantum revolution. So one by one, nations are coming into this. Now, yes, it won't be an easy jump for banks from, say, Swift era into blockchain era and then into quantum computing thing. It will take time. But the nations which are ready to take the advantage of this one is at least starting the research on this particular thing. Now, this is BBVA, and in their website it shows they are pursuing the financial sector's quantum advantage. They're looking at the same thing. Now, whatever we have read through in yesterday's we detailed through in yesterday's live, if you read through this, you can understand they are thinking about the same perspective. They are looking into using quantum technologies to do better algorithm, to do, we talked about quantum cryptography and other things in detail in yesterday's live, right? So I won't go into that, but here if you go through that, you can understand the use case where quantum technology delivers a greater advantage over traditional computing techniques is what they are looking at. Because once they have that, they can look into their risks and they can simulate hundreds, thousands, or 10,000s of simulations instantly and understand the level of risk which they have, and then they can initiate and move further for their risk level. Based on their risk level, they can look on to investing and other sites as well. Now, this document from authority.com shows AWS announced general availability of Amazon Braket. Now, when we come to the downside, they are talking about provides a development environment to help customers explore the design quantum algorithms. Now, in yesterday's video, we went through quantum algorithm, quantum cryptography, and other related stuff, right? So quantum computing has the potential to solve computational problems that are beyond reach of classical computers by harnessing the laws of quantum mechanics to build more powerful tools. If you are a guy who read the document which I put in the description below, I think it's from the script link, you already understood there are a level of uncertainty, or at least kind of conspiracy thing in this quantum system. One of the researcher has pointed many things out, like the system will be inside us, meaning the money, the value will be inside us. I don't know how, but at the same time we discussed about a new vaccine coming out, which will be like a sticker or a tattoo, which will be kind of putting in a vaccine inside us, which is kind of coded. It can do whatever it needs. Now, that's not what I'm saying. I heard that by Bill Gates in a video. So if you guys want to search that, you can do that. Now, these steps are being there. Why? Researchers who are interested in experimenting across a range of quantum hardware and technologies need to set up and manage necessary infrastructure. So they need the necessary infrastructure to set up. So you are not going to jump from a 1900 setup to directly quantum technology. Instead, you have to do that step by step, 1, 2, 3. So you can't kind of skip that 2 directly go into 3. It would be too hard for all the institutions. Now, yes, as in yesterday's video, as we showed, CTO of Ripple kind of says, if NSA is using it now, then it's a different story, right? If they are using it now, it's a different story. In the same way, I actually saw an article through which I read through that. In that, if you concentrate, it is kind of stating that, these technologies are being used in parallel by organizations like say governmental level organizations are actually using these kind of technologies. It's not there for the common man. Yes, I agree, for that it will take at least a decade or even more than that. But when we look at it in an angle, we can understand it clearly states that it is being run parallel, but it was just for the governmental side. Yeah, this was a article in which it was being stated that it would be used for governments for sending their data. Quantum internet. US government unveils blueprint for quantum secure quantum internet. So the quantum internet will run alongside the existing web, so it is running parallel. Sending confidential government and financial data. So here it's not only about government, it's also about financial data. So what are we looking at? Now, the financial data is not only the messages sent in finance, it's also the settlement which is being done together in the era of blockchain and central bank digital currency. So that has to be considered, right? So when we look at this, they are looking at a target of, say, next 10 years. So that is something which kind of ties up or is in line with what Ripple CTO previously stated. 8 to 10 years, till that time it won't be there. But even at that time, they are looking it only for what? For government and financial data. It's not just going out for the common man, as I just explained previously. So here it reads, the DOA's national labs in association with private sector partners will develop the quantum internet, which will run alongside the existing web as parallel platform for sending confidential government and financial data. Early adopters could include the banking and health service sectors according to the DOE. So what we are looking at is the banking sector. So we just saw how the quantum computers and quantum finance can change the risk awareness or the level of risk taken by the banks. So now when we come down, providing the foundational building blocks for quantum internet, these are the steps for that. These are kind of building that infrastructure itself, and they are saying it's 10 years away, but we don't know. We'll have to see if maybe it can be delayed or it can be early. So the internet as we know it today comes with a variety of security challenges. So it is hackable, right? Even the blockchain system is being hacked in many different ways. Like we can see the hacks for Bitcoin, the hacks for that, the hacks of exchanges and all, right? So here when we look at this, we can understand has unveiled a blueprint for quantum internet that will be virtually unhackable. So when we say this, keep this in mind. Exchanges are also being considered as a financial system. Regulatory clarity is coming out as exchanges act mentioning as financial service, and here they claim it is a positive development for digital asset exchange like Bitso, which aim to capitalize the on-demand liquidity market for member country banks and regional remittance payment corridors. So it is about the finance sector to encourage fintechs. We went through this one, right? So I won't actually jump into too much detail for that one. So as we discussed through this, keep this in mind. Whenever if some guy is going to state no, quantum computing is not here, it's not going to come, or it's nothing to be worried about, look at the statement made by David Schwartz itself. He directly states quantum computing with its third generational level would be kind of a threat to current cryptography. First generation, second generation, it can be a threat to the current cryptocurrencies as well. Now that's not directly mentioning by me, as I showed you guys yesterday, it's by David Schwartz. So there is a level of legitimacy for that statement too, because he's the expert in this field. Now what is quantum financial system, QFS, when everyone is looking at things? Now we just saw that it is for governmental data and financial data. So when we look at the financial side, quantum financial system, we can actually go through this particular article, but what it kindly gives you is like it can actually go into a way preparing the computational algorithm in such a way that the currency markets can be increased using the electronic digital currency era. Say as we read here, by initiating the digital currency electronic payments in the central bank digital currency era, when we look at the quantum financial system, which is kind of running in parallel with the current web, it's not kind of a threat in at least next 10 to 15 years, we can say that. Now when we look at what quantum financial system will do for you, this is an old statement kind of showing you like it can be to define the dollar as a fixed weight of gold, meaning the gold standard itself, and the data which is being said here to reduce the corruption, the other stuffs here. If you read through this thing, the new monetary system to end cabal's corruption, usury, manipulation, set out, blah, 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 and come back to this particular document. It is kind of, something similar, but the difference being in this particular document here, it's still not passed. It's only introduced here. It's not passed the House, Senate to the President. It never became a law. It's just in the initial stages. But when we go back and look at this National Quantum Initiative Act, it went through all of those stuff and it is a law. And this one, it's also a law. It went through all of the necessary steps and this is also a law. But this particular stuff which is related to the gold standard is not yet a law. But what we have to understand is that the global economic reset is being promoted by everyone. Now when I say global economic reset, that is also related to this particular first article, which is kind of being a fake itself, but providing necessary information showing a global currency reset. But here it's showing global economic reset. Now the economy, when it is being resetted, you can understand how it kind of links. And at the same time, This statement from Trump back in 2017 replaced the dollar with gold as the global currency to make America great again. Now connect that with this one, which is still in the introduced phase, is kind of a gold standard, right? Now, when we look at the digital dollar era, and when we say that, here from the Federal Reserve of United States, it's still looking at how to do and what are the trade-offs for a digital dollar. Other countries are coming out with their digital fiats. They are piloting it. They are doing the experiments. They are now enrolling it into the public. They are allowing the public to use it in phase by phase, one geographical area by another, whereas US is still kind of should I press the pedals or not? They are thinking about that again. And then when we come back to Twitter, Michael actually sent me this, in which we are thrilled to have developed the first solution that enables a central bank to issue a blockchain powered digital currency which can be sent and received through mobile text. Now again, that goes back to Apollo FinTech. I remember in the two videos back when we talked about Apollo FinTech, many were kind of saying it's just a scam, there is nothing behind the project, there is no progress, blah blah blah. But when I went through the research, when I conducted the research, I showed you guys, right, what I personally think about, and what if it claims all the things which it has, or if it really has all its claim, then it has that edge to move further. Just it's too fast, but it's a little bit late to the party, considering the partnership for Ripple with central banks, commercial banks and all. This will take at least next 5 to 10 years to get that kind of attraction here. So that's a news for Apollo FinTech and for us too. Now when we actually go and look at the technicals, this is what we are able to see. Say for example, this is XRP USD. It just broke above that particular trend line. It was being traded above. It now came back. Now this is an hourly chart, so it broke above that. It came back below, and the 20-day moving average acted as a support around 0.299 or 0.3, and the price is just bouncing. Now, if you remember, I showed you guys this yesterday and told there is a potential for this to go to the upside. And if you look at the same thing for Ether, you can understand it was being just respecting that particular trend line resistance around 403, 405, and then it just broke above that. It came back to the 20-day moving average, bounced again, now making a flag. That's on an hourly chart. If you go back on, zoom out a little bit and check it on a 4-hour chart, you can still see that it went up. It made a flag, it went up. It didn't actually come back to do the retest there after the break, right? So whenever we are looking at in this kind of market cycle, we kind of get an idea from XRP and Ether. Ether goes to the upside first, and kind of the alts are kind of following that. Ether had that break, then Ripple broke this particular level. Now it is trading above that. Now that's on a shorter time scale, right? If we zoom out and look it on daily time frame, it's still good, it's still cool. The 200-day moving average is way below here, and the 20-day moving average is acting as a support. Now I'll show you on a 3-day chart, the 200-day moving average is acting as a support. Now that is like good news. I know even on a 3-day chart, you can see that the price has just closed above the trend line resistance. If you zoom in and look at it on a daily chart also, you can see the price was pushed towards the resistance and then it went above that. So guys, that's all for technicals today, and yeah, I actually covered through all the documents which I wanted to inform you guys. So guys, if you saw value in the video, do support the channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, support the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support, you can use the links for Patreon or PayPal given in the description below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.